comment below what fly you think this fish ate. Hint, it was a nymph. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Derek Olthius. Today we're going to be talking about nymphing and specifically how to make a mend so that your flies sink quicker. When I was guiding full-time, I would often have clients set up on a nymph rig and they were afraid to make a mend and move their indicator. They were surprised when I would tell them, no, go ahead, make a mend, but make it so big that your indicator actually moves upstream of your flies. And they would ask, well, why would you want to do that? And I would tell them, because it removes the drag and helps your flies sink quicker. Imagine you're nymphing and the current's going this way. You cast your indicator up. Your flies and your indicator are going to move at different speeds because there's varied current speeds throughout the different sections of the water column. Typically, your slowest water is going to be at the bottom and your fastest water is going to be up top. Because your flies and your indicator are going to move at different speeds, oftentimes you're going to get an angle like this where your indicator is moving faster than your flies. So that's going to end up dragging your flies and moving them upstream. So when you make a mend and you move the indicator above your flies, you're going to create slack. And that's going to allow your flies to sink a lot quicker. It's also going to allow your flies to ride more naturally in the current. Fish are inherently lazy. They don't want to expend more energy than is required to eat. Look at how little this fish has to move to hold his position in the current. It's really not going to be efficient for him to leave the bottom and rise up through the water column to eat a nymph. Take a look at this pool. This is a great example, and you can see all the fish are glued to the bottom. So for a fish to move, 3-4 feet up through the water column to eat a tiny little nymph is not a good use of energy. We need to get the flies down to them so that it's easy for them to eat. A really good example of this is Alaska. If you're in Alaska fishing beads to trout or Dolly Varden, char, whatever you're fishing, they're looking for beads that are bouncing along the bottom. And there's so many beads bouncing along the bottom, it really doesn't make sense for them to chase down an individual bead, especially when they have to move out of that slower current on the bottom and rise up through the faster currents above them just to get a single egg. It's the same thing when you're nymphing on a trout stream. The trout are typically closer to the bottom unless they have a reason to be suspended in the middle or top of the water column. Those fish simply aren't going to expend the energy on a regular basis to move through the water column to eat a single nymph. Here's what this looks like in practice. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already and share this content with a friend who might benefit from watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.